If you have social anxiety, you probably know this feeling. You're about to say something and then your brain jumps 10 steps ahead. What if my voice sounds weird? What if I embarrass myself? Then your body reacts before anything even happens. Your heart starts racing, your arms start to sweat, you might shake. And the frustrating part is, you know it's irrational. You know you shouldn't be reacting this way to the thought of starting a conversation, but it still happens. And in this video, I want to show you something that completely changed how I think about social anxiety and how to stop those spirals in the first place. So all anxiety lives in the future. It's all about what might happen, not what already has happened. Most of us think that we should be able to control our thoughts, only have the nice ones and never have the uncomfortable ones. But the truth is, you can't really control what thoughts pop up. All you can control is how you respond to those thoughts. And what that means is, the problem isn't the thoughts, the problem isn't the anxiety, it's how we respond to the anxiety. And this is where mindfulness comes in. You sit there, bored, you notice your thoughts, and then you bring yourself back to the present. And I wasn't always a fan of it. I thought it was weird, pointless, kinda a waste of time. But over time, through doing it, I've noticed how constant and unhelpful my thoughts can be, especially in social situations where I would notice myself rehearsing full conversations. I would imagine people were noticing my nerves and make up stories in my head of what they were thinking about me. Basically, it opened my eyes to how much I ruminated about social situations. Before I started meditating, I used to think I was pretty self-aware, but really I was just self-conscious. I was monitoring my body, how I came across. I was constantly in my head, right? Instead of the healthy, mindful awareness, I was more worried about how others thought about me. But through meditation, I've learned to focus more on the experience. So noticing my shaky hands and my racing heart and telling myself, this is just my body responding to some adrenaline, and it's super uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. Now, meditation isn't the only way to practice mindfulness and get better at noticing these anxious thoughts. Another way is to go on walks. Mindful walks is one of my favourites, where you go for a walk without your phone and you just notice things around you. The sounds, the smells, the sights, how your body feels. If your mind wanders, which it will, just bring your attention back to the walk. And try to go on walks just because it feels good, not because you're doing it to practice mindfulness or get rid of anxiety. This should be something you do because it just feels good. Like, it's crazy how calm and relaxed I feel after a walk. And it doesn't need to be perfect weather. Like, I'm very lucky today. Even going a walk when it's windy or cold or a bit rainy, it gets you out of your head and more into the present moment. What I'm about to say is very important. We don't use mindfulness to get rid of anxiety. We use mindfulness to not get rid of anxiety. Confidence doesn't come from getting rid of anxiety. It comes from learning that you can move forward with it there. And over time, something cool happens. You start to speak even though you feel nervous. You show up even though you've got a racing heart. And slowly, the anxiety starts to fade into the background, because you're giving it less power. A helpful question to ask yourself is, what am I doing today to teach my brain that anxiety isn't a threat? Maybe that's starting a conversation at work, or going for a mindful walk instead of replaying an interaction in your head, right? And this is where mindfulness becomes very useful. It gives you a small space between the anxious thought and your reaction. And instead of getting pulled into, what if I embarrass myself? What if I make a mistake? You notice that thought, and once you notice it, you're no longer trapped inside it. The thought might still be there, the anxiety might still be there, but now there's a little space. And in that space, you get to choose what you do next. Not controlling the thought, not eliminating the anxiety, just learning that you don't have to automatically follow every anxious thought you have. And when your brain learns that, anxiety stops being the thing that decides how you live your life.